Okay, welcome. So, to people who are watching later, welcome to. We continue our journey into our Tai Chi for limb power sessions, and we're exploring a particular set called Shibashi. I'm going to get us moving. The first sort of 10 movements or so that we've now been working through, I'm going to kind of go through relatively quickly. Won't say too much about them. I'll just introduce them as we do them. I'll do my mix of seated and standing, and then as we begin to get towards the point where we've built up to, I'll slow things down and we'll introduce the next movement. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to start standing up. Okay, so let's start. We'll just do Qi Shi, this opening movement. If it's possible to get into your legs, letting the knees bend, please do so. I know if that's very difficult for you, then please don't force things. But let's just use this opening movement or two to just kind of get into a more relaxed state. Maybe take a breath or two with the movement. We're doing this one more time before we smoothly segue into the next movement of this set, where we're opening arms down again. See if you can. Here's an interesting concept. Get out of the way of yourself. Get out of the way of yourself. Sometimes we overthink things, overanalyze, over-criticize our performance in different ways. Just see if you can just kind of push that side of yourself a little bit into the background. We're going overhead now, and we're doing embracing rainbows. And just see if you can just let your body move in a way that's comfortable for it. Not thinking about whether it's perfect or not, but just moving as comfortably and as easily as you can. And just kind of finding the easy way. It's a very kind of ancient Chinese philosophy way of thinking. It's kind of the opposite of how we're sometimes taught to think, maybe in kind of Western cultures, where hard work and forcing things is the only way to make progress. Sometimes letting go and just letting things unfold and finding the easy way can actually be a really good way to get forward. Okay, into our next set of movements. Parting the clouds or the fountain. Just breathing comfortably or with the movement as you choose. Again, not overthinking, kind of letting your body organize itself. Here we come for our first bit of rotation. It's rolling arms or repulse monkey. We're turning, looking, and bringing the backhand through, pushing it forwards, pushing, and then bringing the next one through. Again, don't overthink it. Just see if you can let the body do its thing. It knows how to turn, so just let it turn. Okay. Next movement. So now we're rowing the boat. So this is movement number 6. So as you can see, we can, if you wish, move at a reasonable pace through the movements, a bit like a flow. beginning to make those arm movements larger, beginning to reach overhead, and so much so that my hands are disappearing out of frame. But that's okay. I'll do one more. Excellent. And now casting our cares away. Again, pick a side and cast your cares away. Remember, it's the opposite hand that does the casting to the side that you choose. So it's my left hand that goes to the right, right hand going to the left. And again, I'm not overly thinking about how I do this. I think most of us know how to throw something underhand. So just kind of have that natural motion in mind. That's it. Excellent. I'm going to sit down now for the next few movements. The next movement is gazing at the moon. Another turn involves quite a turn, in fact. So again, be mindful of that. We're looking upwards and backwards, if possible, to an imaginary moon. And we're lifting our hands and arms in a gesture that kind of points the way, so to speak, or gestures towards that moon above us. If you sat down like I am, this really works the back. If you're standing up, you'll find that there'll be some rotation in the hips as well. So you have to be mindful of your balance. Again, just moving comfortably as much as you can. Okay, have a rest. Pushing palms, that's our next movement. It's as if we hold two bowls of soup, pick a hand, I don't mind which one, tip that bowl of soup and push it across to the opposite side. Turn it over, bring it back, tip the other hand, push it across to the opposite side. And we get this alternation from one hand to the other. Look in the direction in which you intend to push. Pushing the palm directly forward if possible. Get a stretch in the shoulder and some rotation in the upper back. Breathing comfortably with the movement. And we'll do one more. Excellent. Okay, we're coming to our embrace. Wave hands in clouds or just simply cloud hands. Turning in the direction of the top hand, whichever hand that is for you. Right hand tells us to go right, left hand on top tells us to go left. And it's as if we're involved in a dance, holding a partner quite close, and we're sweeping them from one side and then to the other. There's a bit of weight shift if we are standing up and if you sat down, and there's some rotation going on as well. We're just breathing with the movement, moving easily. It's so much a part of the philosophy of Tai Chi to move easily, and we'll come to a finish. So there you go, 10 movements in roughly 10 minutes. Gives you an indication that you can, if you wish, really move through the Shibashi set at a reasonable pace. General advice for this set of movements is around 15 to 20 minutes. So that would be at a reasonable pace. You can slow it down, of course, or you can just do chunks or sections as you please. So again, you've got latitude. So there you go, 10 movements. Let's begin to move into our next movements. We've got becoming one with the sea and sky, and this is where we move into this little set of 3 movements that demand a bit more of us. I'll start seated, but I will stand up. I'm pushing my right leg, this is my prosthetic side, forwards. If you're standing up, you're taking a pace kind of diagonally to the right to widen your stance. And then depending on maybe a lower prosthetic limb and how it operates, you're going to have to work with that to maintain your balance. But in essence, we're leaning forward. It could be very slight. And then leaning back, opening up. And leaning alternately. Again, don't overthink it. Move within a comfortable range for you. Try not to think of it as a stretch. That's not the aim of Tai Chi. If we could say anything, the aim of Tai Chi is to move comfortably, easily, and smoothly and continuously. So a little bit different from, say, some yoga forms or Pilates. Okay, one more. Okay, left leg now for me, going forward. Again, if you're standing up, pacing with that left leg. If we're sat down and we can get a leg forward, it just gives us some extra support to do these movements. Here we go again, just moving gradually, exploring balance, exploring range of motion, and kind of just getting a feel for how the movement goes. Let's do one more. Lovely. Okay, back to the right side. Again, if you're standing, it's that right leg taking a diagonal step. Once again, I've extended my right leg down here and we're making waves. So I'm pushing, making a wave, bringing my hands clear. And just ebbing and flowing smoothly. Good stuff. Just like that. Again, there's some weight shift, which again, we have to manage. Moving our weight under control, forwards and backwards. All good skills. Okay, one more on this side. Left leg going forwards. Once again, for support if we're sat down. And again, same thing, start off gradually. And again, it's okay to be aware of differences from left side to right side, asymmetries. And that's okay. We're not forcing ourselves to be perfectly symmetrical. We're working again with what we have and what we can do within the circumstances that we find ourselves. And again, we're not forcing things, we're just working comfortably, easily as we do so. Okay, one more. Okay, so I'm going to stand up for the final movement in this little trio of quite big dynamic movements. So once again, let me move my box and right leg, taking a pace forward. And this is white dove spreads its wings. So we've got big wide open arms. Imagine those are your wings. And we're pushing forwards, closing the wings, and then rocking back, opening the wings. Again, move gradually. And as you feel confident, you can extend your range very naturally, but always maintaining a sense of balance and poise wherever possible. Good job. And because we do these movements quite slowly, that's where the challenge is. Let's finish on that side. It's also quite a workout within the arms as well. And I've been doing a few sessions this day and my arms are feeling it. I'm wondering if your arms feel it as you go on. So once again, left side, same thing, working slowly, gradually, feeling your way, breathing comfortably, or breathing with the movement if it feels right to do so, but not forcing things, not being bound by any sense of it ought to be this way or it ought to be that way. So finish there. There's no oughts, there's no shoulds, really. There's just finding the way that fits us. So if you've made it this far, that takes us to 13 movements in total. And we'll move on to a couple of new movements. The first one is called punching. And the second one is called flying goose, or sometimes it's called flying wild goose. So the punching movement is, if I come a bit closer, we make loose little fists, like so. Okay, if I stand at a diagonal, and again, choose an arm, whichever one, and extend it out in a slow motion punch. And I've turned my hand over. And then I just draw it back, turning it back over to the way it came. And then I turn over the other hand as it extends in a slow motion punch, and then back again. Simple movement after all of those previous movements. It's a bit of a relief to just have something very simple. So again, just move gradually, slowly with this movement. Extending one arm, followed by another. See if you can have a sense that they are connected. So as one hand is moving forward, the other is drawing back. You can roll your shoulders if you like. Just extending and withdrawing alternate hands. It's an opportunity to catch your breath again from those previous movements. If you sat down, then again the movement will be very much centered in your torso or trunk. If you're standing up with me, then there's a certain amount of movement in the pelvis or in the hips as well. Let's do one more. Doesn't matter which side you're on, just extend that side and bring it back. So that gives us movement number 14. Very simple. As I say, kind of comes as a nice punctuation after those previous 3 movements that have demanded quite a bit of us. And now we're moving into our movement number 15, which is called flying goose or flying wild geese. We're going to start with our hands, and again, if I come close, kind of just like so. I'll do this seated in a moment, but I want you to imagine that your fingers and fingertips are the very ends of the feathers of large wings, and we're just going to make a big wing beat. Up and out and soft hands, and then back down again to that position. Get the idea? Should look like a very elegant slow motion wing beat with very soft pliant hands at both sides. Can you see that? I turn the hands over and then back again. Just get that feel. Really think as if you can feel the air with your fingertips as you take these wing beats. For those of you who can, again, you can sink into the knees, bend the knees a little bit if that's at all possible. If I turn to the side, as I come down, I can sink into the knees a bit, but I know that may be incredibly difficult or actually nigh on impossible for some of you, again, depending on the limb loss that we have. So again, everything is about optimal rather than perfect. That's it. So if you're standing up, keep going. I'm going to sit down and again, just demonstrating this seated. So again, we've got this nice wing beat. If you wish, from time to time, you can go for an extra big wing beat where we bring the hands really quite high above and then back down. You might do that intermittently every now and again before coming back to a regular rhythm or cadence. So again, there's an option there to do that. Let's do a couple more. So it's a really graceful movement. Flying goose. So that's another movement tacked on to our set. Leaves us with 2 more movements to fit in before we have our complete set of 18. Our next movement is sometimes called the spinning wheel, or it's sometimes called the wheel of life. And we'll do that next week. It's quite a big movement. And again, it could be quite a challenge. So I'm not going to introduce it now in the kind of latter part of the session. What we'll do is we'll finish with movement number 18, which is our closing movement. So we're pushing the hands forwards and up and drawing them towards us and then down. Again, you can breathe with the movement if that suits you, or you can just breathe very easily. Again, not overthinking things, but just moving easily as you do so. Just to bring things to a close. Make this the last one. Just like so. A nice way to finish sometimes is to just bring the hands, again, whether we're standing or sitting, just onto the lower abdomen. Both hands covering one another. And if you wish, you can just spend a few seconds, just maybe eyes closed. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. I'm just catching that sneeze. You may want to just close your eyes and just be aware that you're breathing, that you're settled. And just kind of let everything come to a stop. All of that motion that we've been involved in. When you're ready, you simply part the hands and we've finished. So, when we eventually get the final two movements integrated into this session, we'll be able to go through all of the movements, all 18. We should be able to do them all within the space of time that we have. And that's a really nice workout. I'm sure you can tell me that you know that you've had quite a bit of a workout with these deceptively simple but sometimes quite challenging movements. I'm going to stop our recording and